right, it looks like we're live here, making a recording right now. We're doing an interview with John Williams from YouTube, who has graced us with his presence today. John, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
Well, fantastic. I'm really, really excited to have a real YouTube celebrity actually on our channel as we're starting to gear up our YouTube channel and get going here. It's great to bring in people with all sorts of different views. Where are you located?
Right now I'm in Florida. I just sold my place in LA and just relocated to Florida just like 4 or 5 months ago.
That's fantastic. As November rolls in right here, I'm pretty jealous because I'm stuck here in getting chilly Massachusetts. So yeah. Definitely appreciate you being on our channel.
Definitely, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So you're in the real estate biz. We've been trying to help our channel and all of our followers who are learning about real estate. The way we always frame it to the people that follow us is, we want to share with them our successes, but we also, more importantly, share with them our struggles. Because that's certainly where you can really learn. And man, we've had a lot of struggles. So
I bet you have.
Yeah. So it's absolutely awesome to have somebody else on here too that's willing to take time to share to help people that are new, that are beginning, that are looking to jump in and get involved in the world of real estate. So thanks so much.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a very interesting place in real estate because so much is changing right now with landlord-tenant law, with this whole new decarbonization that they're talking about. I don't know if you heard about that. They're bringing a lot of changes in.
There's so much stuff that's coming down the pike. I have no idea what to really believe in as hype or what might just be rumor or what is really, really about to, the anvil that's about to fall on our heads here.
Yeah. So my buddy in Philly has 200 units out there. And I told him last year, I'm like, hey, you should pay attention to what they're doing with this whole new carbon situation, where they're saying that residential and commercial buildings are responsible for 40% of the carbon output. Wow. And that they're going to start doing things to offset this emissions.
Sure.
And so now we have to do this new, it's called a DET test, where they go in there and check air quality in the units, and it's $500 a unit. He's got 200 units, it's going to cost him 100 grand just to do the test.
Yeah. Anything they could do. What's next? What's going to be next after that? They're going to come up with the next crazy thing of a way to, make us pay something to, it makes it harder every single time.
Yeah. Well, so like in Ithaca, New York, I'm not sure if you heard about this, but they probably not because it just literally came out like a couple of days ago. Yeah. So what they're doing is they want to decarbonize all of Ithaca. And so they're saying that the cost is $50,000 per house. And how they're going to get the funding for this is through private equity companies that are going to lend the money on the assets.
Okay.
And that the property owner then has to pay a monthly payment to the private equity company. And so it's basically like a forced mortgage on the asset. It's like insane.
I'm just going to say, and then of course, what happens with that owner who never asked to have to do this can't make those payments because, everything is starting to cost way more money and their income hasn't gotten up. What's going to happen then? I'm assuming that private equity company is probably going to have a way to foreclose on that debt, right?
Yeah, they say that they're going to regulate it through building and safety through the government entities. Like they're going to change the zoning laws. But they didn't say it's going to happen nationally, but they said that it's going to be coming to many more cities.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to kind of see how all this kind of plays out as we kind of like step through this whole new like safety to environment to like it's a magnificent time to become an investor for everybody that's new because there's so much changing.
I agree. I always say it's like being in real estate, especially if you're going to buy and hold property and basically become a landlord, you're walking across a minefield here. And it sounds like you're just adding more mines. They're like, wait, too many people are succeeding. Too many people are getting across this minefield. Let's throw in some more mines or some more traps, make it harder.
Yeah. What do you like? What are some big lessons you think that you've learned this year as you continue kind of like pivoting and navigating this new market?
Yeah. So I honestly, my probably my best lesson I would say that I learned, or I should say we learned, because of course this is two guys' take on real estate. But to me today, you only get one. You're getting half the value for the cost of admission. But I'd say we learned that this whole we never thought we would ever see the inability for a business owner, a landlord, to be forced to keep his business open, to remain open, to serve his customers out of his expenses, out of his pocket, and not even be allowed to require payment for their services. I've never seen anything like that in America. I never thought I would see something like that happen. And then one day, just all of a sudden, that was the new landscape of this country. So we learned a lot from that. But when we talk about how there was the shutdown, everything got closed, businesses had to close, restaurants had to close, and everybody's rightfully so feeling very sympathetic for business owners whose livelihoods were shut down and paused. It was just not even really talked about that. We couldn't even get to shut down. We had to stay open. We had to keep working, and we couldn't require payment for our services. Incredible to me. So we learned that America could become very unfair and very extreme in one fell swoop. Very, very, very surprising.
Where do you think that this is going to? Do you think that we could step into a situation in the winter months coming right before us? Yeah. To where if you look what's happening in Austria and the Netherlands and Europe and Germany, what they're doing right now is they're stepping into more closures.
Foreclosures?
No, more closure. They're locking back down.
Yeah. So I will say the good thing is, and we put some processes into place that really, really helped us because we couldn't require payments, but what we could do was really step up our proactiveness with our rentals, with our tenants and our rentals, who, for whatever reason, were not paying. Some by choice, certainly, some because they knew they didn't have to. But whatever the reason was that they weren't paying, we were very proactive in terms of helping them connect to rental assistance funds. And that really did keep our rental business alive. The government did put a lot of money out there to toss on behalf of anybody who simply claimed they couldn't afford to pay rent.
Right.
And we were very proactive about making our tenants get in touch with those programs, even though we couldn't force them to or couldn't, impose any consequences if they were stealing our services. We were able to, we would call them, we would text them, we would email them, we would send them letters. We would show up at their house with a tablet connected and say, hey, please just fill out this online application. It takes 15 minutes. We can at least cover the expenses to keep the water on, the mortgage paid, the insurance up, that kind of stuff.
Did you find that most people were very cooperative in that?
Well, without us taking those efforts, very few people embraced the rental assistance program. And had we been able to serve them a notice or begin, what is already a very long and challenging eviction process, many people would have gone into that process, but people weren't really cooperative because there was no consequence. So, I remember one time, emailing, calling, everything. This one household was a single family household, so it's not exactly a small amount of rent each month that's not getting paid. And Matt and I both went to the property and literally caught the female occupant coming out of the house and said, oh, hey, listen, we were actually just stopping by to see if we could get you to take 15 minutes to apply for these funds. She informed us she didn't have time. She had a nail appointment she had to get to, and she didn't have time to fill out the rental assistance to cover the $8,000 that she was behind at the moment. And I said, okay, is the husband, boyfriend, whatever, is he available? He could fill it out too. He's not here. He's at work. So you have a household with tons of income. You have somebody that has disposable income because they're not paying any of their bills that won't take the time to even get rental assistance. All because, again, what are we supposed to do? We can't do anything about it. Best Buy can stop a person from leaving with their product, right? We weren't able to impose any kind of consequences. So we had a lot of people that weren't doing much of anything without us having an instrument to remedy the situation. Once we were able to start serving notices again, everybody that wasn't really listening to us and interacting with that program, all of a sudden started taking advantage of the rental assistance program, which was great. So, we did pretty well if we were able to weather the storm and stay afloat long enough where finally we were able to start getting some of the income from the properties.
That's good. It's I think we're all in a position right now to learn, and the things that people thought would never happen are now starting to happen. So I think what we're going to be stepping into is a game of survival of the fittest. The people that have the best operations, the people that are prepared, that are expecting big problems ahead, they're building out the teams right now and getting everything ready so that they can succeed through those tough times.
I would agree, which is why we always talk, to our viewers and everybody that follows our different platforms about, how we want to share these kind of experiences with them so that they can be a step ahead. They don't have to learn the hard way or take the time to learn in general through their own experience. They can learn through someone else's. And I wish this kind of content was around when we first started. It would have saved us a lot of hassle too. Have you made any improvements or changes to your processes that, in light of what we've been through?
Yeah. So Los Angeles was, that was where I wanted to die. I wanted to stay there forever. Yeah. But things really became challenging over the last couple of years. Landlord-tenant law, I think one thing that everyone that's considering to invest in real estate should look hard into that that most people don't really talk enough about is landlord-tenant law in the state in which you want to invest. California, New York, there's many states out there that are very challenging for investors. There's other states where they actually want to cooperate and they want you to succeed.
Yeah.
But for a state like California, you could have an eviction that could cost you 20 or 30 grand.
Sure.
Because they have situations out there like really legal teams like BOSTA and public counsel, which represent tenants for free, whereas a landlord may have to pay $300 to $400 per hour.
Right.
And the jury is going to be much more favorable towards the tenant. And it doesn't behoove you to try to take it, even if you're right, to the end. It makes more sense probably to negotiate and pay them out to get them out of the unit rather than go to court. And that's kind of what I've been like in Los Angeles. I had an experience where one specific tenant completely, she had a mental thing going on, and she completely destroyed the unit. It destroyed it, right? But then on top of that, she refused to vacate, and then it was like a $30,000 learning lesson.
Yeah.
With just legal fees on top of the cost of construction of that unit. Right. So you start to do the numbers, it's really on social media. I think people really beautify real estate as it doesn't take much money to get started and it's super easy. And then you just buy it and then you just collect all this money.
Right.
But in reality, there are problems that come up, and smart investors, they take that into consideration before they make the purchase. They understand who the tenant demographic is, where the risks lie, and they're aware of it before they move in on the deal.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think a lot of people do kind of make it a kind of gloss over some of the challenges and show the upside, the success. And it can be a struggle. It definitely can. And my favorite word that sounds like it probably applies to your situation was when a tenant is judgment proof, when essentially they can cause all sorts of damages, whatever it might be, and you can't, what is the expression? You can't squeeze blood from a stone.
Yeah.
You can't really get the win there really is just finally ending the abuse from them and the damages from them and moving on to somebody else. And that's a hard lesson to learn, to be honest. Even for me still, when somebody wrongs you, when somebody owes you, you think, hey, I should be able to go collect that. I should be able to pursue that. I should fight for that. And, the reality that often will be taught here is that sometimes the best solution is just to stop the bleeding, move on to the next, and do your best to make sure you don't, have those kind of issues again.
Yeah. And a couple of things that I'm looking at right now in just the overall economy is a lot of where things are going in the next couple of months with a lot of these new mandates coming in. If we look at traditional America, right? It's 30,500,000 businesses that essentially support the entire economy. And now what we're going to have is a situation where a lot of the people will likely no longer be able to work unless they do certain things. And so there could be a lot of people that are then taken out of the workforce that don't have an ulterior place to move, that may clog up the court systems even more, because many of these court systems across the country are already 12, 18 months backlog. So we can have a situation where the courts are even more backed up, and then the small mom and pop landlords that are already bleeding out, not just from their rental portfolio, but also from their businesses, are then forced to kind of let go. And that could be a great opportunity for investors to kind of hop in there and jump in. Like Gavin Newsom, for example. I'm not sure if you heard what he did, but at this recording, I don't know if I'm able to show you here, but Gavin Newsom, he said that the pandemic was a great opportunity for them to buy units. And so he basically built out a system to where people couldn't really survive. Right. And then he went and bought 6,000 units from people in California.
Right.
So imagine if 3,000 people had a duplex I'm sure that's not the situation, but 6,000 doors he took from people that were forced to sell.
Yeah.
And he says it with a laugh, like,
yeah,
they were distressed, like they were happy to get out from under it.
I mean, when he phrases it in a certain way where it's like, oh, it gives us, great ability to go out and buy units and do this and do that. What he's failing to mention, and again, sweeps right by, is the fact that those units came from people. Those units came from people that owned them, that were that lost them and lost their livelihoods with them because of probably his policies or some really, really unfortunate decisions the government made that caused him to lose it. So he basically took from one person so he can give to somebody else. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm really not sure how you can just kind of laughingly, make remarks about doing that to somebody, or thousands of somebody's,
It's kind of like, it puts me in a position now where I ask myself, like, I don't want to be so tunnel vision and just say, real estate is the best, real estate is the only thing. And to kind of ask myself, like, what direction was going to provide the most opportunity over the next couple of years, and where would I have the greatest competitive advantage inside of that area, right?
Sure.
And now with social media, it's like, it gives you not just social media, but as you kind of understand online, you start to see the opportunity to do amazing things. Like, you even look at like the big names like Cardone, for example, some of the stuff he's doing. But like other people, they'll take an idea and they'll run online and they'll make 100 million or 500 million. Whereas to do that in real estate and make like a true net gain through all the uncertainty might be a little harder, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, the uncertainty of what's coming next, 6 months out, a year out, some people are saying less than 6 months out, is what's keeping so many people watching our channels instead of out there jumping into action and doing something. One of the things I do like to tell people is there's more than one way to be involved in real estate. There's all sorts of different ways to be involved in real estate.
Yeah.
So you're trying to, set up a direction ahead, because if you just wait around for the future to unfold, you're never going to make anything happen for yourself. You got to do something at some point. But setting yourself up, or at least getting started in real estate to the point where you can pivot and change and adapt with what could be an ever-changing market for us.
Definitely. I think the people that are not leveraged to the gills, that have equity in their properties, it gives them more flexibility.
Absolutely.
To 3, 5, 7x their portfolio in like a short window. There's so much distress in the market, they're just going to be able to run out there and pounce on it like we saw in 08, 09.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if we're going to have an Armageddon again, like we did back then. Maybe it'll be something worse. Maybe it will be what they were trying to say back then would happen, which was the housing bubble won't burst; it'll just ease. And obviously it exploded. But who knows? Maybe this time, with all the different, I think, government manipulations and involvements in extreme measures, I don't know if there's any way to really predict what really could happen as we over the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, the one thing that's very interesting to me is like Biden's Build Back Better. It's not improve; it's like build back, meaning it has to basically be rebuilt again.
Yeah. I guess, does that imply that there's still more destruction ahead of us? We've endured 10, 11 months of destruction so far. Are we gonna, or more, I guess, if you want to say it rolled into the end of last year? How much longer is there that we'll have to endure?
Well, I do think that this is pretty much the biggest wealth transfer, like, of our life. 1 second. Excuse me.
All good. But biggest wealth transfer, that's actually a great time for people like our viewers, to be getting involved, because darn it, you want to be on the right side of any kind of a wealth transfer. So if you're going to be, in a situation where things are going to be changing, you want to be as equipped as possible with all the knowledge you need to go out there and, pave your path to financial freedom. Through the world of real estate is a great way to get going. But now more than ever, maybe they've added a couple more minds to the field, but still very, very doable.
I definitely agree with you. And I think that shelter real estate is the easiest path forward as we step into like a technocratic world. I just think that there will be some big changes coming. And I think, again, like those that have the leverage and the knowledge where they can leverage themselves into great deals, they're going to be able to, seize that opportunity.
Well, all the more reason for social media, our YouTube platforms, and all of our other different venues that we offer, that you offer, need to be subscribed to and tuned into, because sharing of knowledge, sharing of experiences, so that everybody else can be nimble and react, is probably more important now more than ever.
Definitely. Are you going to venture into other states?
Well, we have primarily, we're in Massachusetts. Our holdings, we did a lot of buy and holds and rentals. We did some in Connecticut, kind of northern Connecticut. But, we want to keep because we self-manage, we want to keep all of our rentals kind of within, our ability to access them physically. But yeah, we're always, Matt and myself, we're always looking at creative things we can do. And it's great I visited just Tennessee just recently, and it's great to see all these other places out there that, I'm trying to go enjoy a couple of days off, and my mind is just being my brain's trained to real estate. So I keep seeing in opportunities, you go to a touristy area and you say, wow, that would make a great short-term rental. And I wonder what that property went for. And I'm like, man, can a guy just relax and enjoy a tourist destination without wondering how he can get involved in it?
Yeah, so we just had a baby, and my dad was staying at a hotel right around the corner, and like the front desk was like, oh yeah, my friend, like her mom passed away in this unit, and they're going to sell the property. And I looked at the comps, and we ended up paying all cash for it. And like you never know where that deal is going to come, but it's like 35% below market value. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna. So it's just, I think Florida, Texas, Tennessee, where like there's going to be so much opportunity sprouting out all over the place. If you go to Florida anytime soon, give me a ring. I'll give you my cell phone. You can text me, and I'd love to show you around.
No, that sounds good. I'd love to go to Florida, because speaking of giving a ring, I mean, that's what our guy from Massachusetts did to the folks in Tampa. Is he gave them a ring at the Buccaneers. I want to go catch a game, or at least go down there and enjoy some warmth, and maybe watch a game locally or something like that. So I'm looking for an excuse to hop on a flight. Maybe.
Definitely, yeah. So one of my first students is from Tampa, and I helped him buy 2 deals in that area. And so like he wants me to do some deals with him up there. I'm in Delaware, so I'm like 3.5 hours. It's about an hour north of Miami, so it's on the other side, Tampa. Yep. So yeah, man, give me a call. I'd love to meet you in person and show you around.
No, that's cool. I appreciate that for sure. I mean, like I said, it doesn't take much convincing to get somebody to go visit sunny Florida, right? Especially
these days.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me, and this has been a great conversation about real estate that we got to have.
Definitely, man. Thank you for having me on, and looking forward to talking again.
Yeah, same here. And seriously, I hope we don't have anywhere near the subscribers I'm sure that you do, but if any of our subscribers that are watching now aren't already following John Williams' channel, we're going to make sure we have a link on our page for you to get over to check out his content. It's okay to subscribe to more than one channel, folks. So don't be shy about clicking the like and the subscribe button whenever you're on YouTube.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks again.